is there a right and wrong way to be a man in America? Now, me personally, I am a man, so I think we should go over this and give you my few pointers. I have not seen this, so I don't know what it's going to be about. It's a long ass video, so I don't know what the points are going to be about specifically. But yeah, let's go over this and see if we agree and disagree. I would say I am a left-leaning, very left-leaning person, so I'll probably agree with the trans person more than the conservative people here. But we'll see.
Social experiment that brings humans with opposing beliefs together. These discussions may contain viewpoints that are the result of misinformation. Remember to seek out experts and to be critical.
They're talking about the conservatives here. I guarantee the conservatives are definitely going to spew out some misinformation.
Critical of your own biases while forming an opinion. Please see the humanity in each participant, and as always, we encourage empathy.
Damn, that whole disclaimer was against conservatives. Or for conservatives.
We're just redefining what being a man is. You have to understand you're redefining a fabric in society that has kept the human race and got it to where it is today.
But do you see the state of our world today? It's not perfect, and it's been led by men like throughout all of history.
No.
And look where
he's doing the natural argument. Why is he looking like that? He has a big ass forehead. I can't complain. I do got a big ass forehead too. Nice new logo. Middle ground.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Masculinity is disappearing in America.
No, I do not agree with that. It's changing. It's definitely changing, and I do believe that is a good thing. Men are more than cock and balls, being aggressive and being non-emotional. Men are way more than that, and if you agree that that's all men are, you're simplifying men, and you're actually hurting men, and you actually hate men because you're hurting men. So I do not agree with that.
I think that masculinity is disappearing. I think that it's a concerted effort to emasculate men. I think that some people feel threatened by masculinity, and
I wonder if you're gonna put out any like evidence or be super vague. Can you give specifics? Specific, like how?
And the typical way that men carry themselves, leading families and different things like that. So I think that there's an effort to mitigate strong men in America.
There's a few different ways to think about that.
He didn't give up any specifics. Didn't, just made it super vague. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with here. Super vagueness.
Masculinity, but just looking at kind of the definition of the term 50 years ago, and you had people like John Wayne, you had Martin Luther King, you had Sean Connery. You think of
not Martin Luther King,
as in beards, hairy chest.
Why do conservatives always bring up Martin Luther King? I know y'all hate him. Y'all hate him so bad, so stop bringing him up. Stop it. But we got quote unquote masculine men today, like Keanu Reeves. I guess he's considered masculine, but he's not buff when it comes to like that masculinity. And like an action hero, like him being Neo and him being John Wick. Back in the day, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was like huge and super fucking buff. But yeah, Keanu Reeves is like a pretty skinny guy. So that goes against like the masculinity.
This big muscles, being stoic, being brave, being rugged, being a provider. Today you have...
And then we got all the Marvel movies and all the DC movies. Fucking Henry Cavill, motherfucking stacked. Jason Momoa, Chris Evans, motherfucker who played Thor. I forgot his name, but I think it's also Chris Hemsworth. He's huge as well. We got so many people out there right now that does the main thing of what masculinity is supposed to look like.
People like Harry Styles and Timothy Chalamet. You have people that are completely contrary to what we were looking at back then, and those values of those masculine characteristics are completely devalued.
I do believe that masculinity is...
How is it devalued? This motherfucker looked like Timothy Chalamet. How can you agree with him while looking like that?
Look at like the testosterone levels. Now the testosterone levels for guys is going down compared to generations before us.
Wait, source? Is testosterone for men going down? What? Is that true? Studies show men have been declining for decades. The most prominent to the study revealed a substantive drop in U.S. men's around average level decline. But what does that even mean? Okay, so what's it mean according to men's on the rise? More marketing campaigns to older men, huh? So is it the older you get, the less you have compared to people in the past? Okay. Name a generation ago, asking why real identity over gender roles. Answer complicated. The search higher rates of obesity. Okay, which suppresses testosterone. Smoking in men. Okay, and chemicals such as pesticides. Okay, so he is that guy. Of course, as conservatives would be, they always tell half truths or lies. Men's testosterone is going down, but it's not because of trans men. It's not because of like Timothy Chalamet being like weaker or like not like big as fuck. It's not because of that. It's because of obesity, smoking, and chemicals and environmental toxins such as pesticides and other shit. So of course, lying, as conservatives do, be lying.
So yeah, I agree. Hi, I'm Gilbert. I'm 24 years old and I'm a conservative man. With my beliefs and having a trans man as my friend, we don't really talk about.
Oh no, I'm not bigoted. I have a blank friend. Oh, I love those arguments so
politics.
much.
Someone being trans doesn't make me like them any less of a person. As far as pronouns,
Cap. That's
when
cap.
referring to my friend, I don't really use the pronouns that my friend would want. I just say my friend or I say their name, just because I feel like I'm giving into the narrative that men can be women and women can be men if I use the pronouns that they want.
I mean, you're giving into the narrative that men can't be women and women can't be men. You're giving into that narrative. Science is against you, buddy. Science is against you.
I do see that masculinity is under attack completely, but my definition of masculinity, like you said, has a lot to do with the traits that are associated with it. As a gay man, I mean, of all of us, you know, I mean, I'm not the most masculine man, but I do think that the good aspects of
Yes, you are. What's more masculine than fucking another guy? You know, I'm not that masculine. I have not fucked another guy. I don't find other guys sexually attractive. But what's more masculine than that? Come on, yeah.
Masculinity are definitely under attack, but I don't think that it's disappearing. It's just being channeled in different ways.
It depends on how you look at it, because a lot of the traits can also be embodied in women and femininity. So when we look at masculinity, I think that we have to also look at what is the actual definition of femininity and masculinity, and if we're defining masculinity by being stoic or muscles or body parts, then is it really masculinity?
A lot of times when you guys spoke about masculinity
Facts.
associated with men being manly, but I think more women are embracing their masculinity. Masculinity is still there. I mean, just other genders are using it. Being courageous, being powerful, more women are standing in their power, which is again associated with masculine, but it's not specific to just men. Women are no longer submissive, they're dominant. Women don't need men, and I think that most of America is realizing that anyone can be powerful on their own.
I believe that the masculine traits are inherently in men, and men have to take a position. You made a really good point by saying women are now becoming more masculine. They feel as if...
I think that's really bad. Masculine traits are inherently in you. You're inherently stoic. I think that's what he agrees with, but that's super like you need to give me what is inherent to masculinity, because whatever you say is wrong, because women can be that, and other people can be that as well, and men cannot be that as well. So we can talk. So are you not a man for not having those characteristics? I gotta ask them that.
They don't need men, which I think is the problem here. I think that the way we've been designed by God, in my opinion, is that... Of
course they're Christians. Of course. I fucking hate Christians. Oh my God. We need, as left-leaning people, we need to be more anti-theist. The more I hear Christians talk some bullshit that does not exist, the more I hate them.
Men are to lead, men are to be strong, men are to be brave. Men have to take their rightful position. The way our country has been.
But what is strong? What is being brave? Is strong just being physically strong, or is strong just being protective of your family, getting shit done? You need to take care of your family. Is that being strong right there? See, that's you gotta go way more in depth. You can't let them weasel out by being super vague.
Structured to this point have been because of strong men who have taken a stand, who have fought wars. Now I feel like it's getting so lopsided that our families are degrading. People don't know where they're at in this country.
Now in 2022, masculinity is being redefined. And I think what happens is people get upset when things start to change. No, I think that nobody ever wants to take that away from men. I think that what we want to do in the world now is start to understand.
This guy is a trans man. I would never even know that. If I saw this guy walking in the street, I'd be like, yo, that's a guy. That's a dude right there. That motherfucker look like a lumberjack. How can you tell me this guy right here is not a man because he's trans?
Understand what is masculinity, and it's always been really associated with
He's
this
bigger
sort
than
of
me.
machismo space. And now there's different kinds of men in the world. There's not just biological men. There's also trans men or people who want to be masculine. So I think what's happening now is people are pushing against change because change is scary and people don't understand. And so I think men, biological men, feel under attack, when I think that's not what's happening here.
The point that you made is 100% correct. There are different phases and people are experiencing in different ways. The feminist movement is, I think they are attacking masculinity within men. I don't want a man to open the door for me. I don't need a man in my life. I can do all of these different things. What they're doing.
Why you want to force women to have a man in their life? What if they're a lesbian? Why do you want to force women to be what you think they should be, not let them be what they want? But like the holding the door situation, that's not all women. I think that's even like a small minority of women that do that. Even a small feminist, more specifically, percentage that actually don't want you to open the door for them. You just gotta like read the woman right, or like ask like, oh, do you want me to open the door for you, or do you not? You just gotta be more just talkative. Are you just afraid to talk to a woman?
Doing is attacking men, and that's what's causing the problem.
What part of the feminist group feels like it's attacking? Because I know that most feminism is like wanting equal pay or...
Well, you just said that women not needing men is somehow empowering. You know, having a man is somehow less empowering, or being an individual is somehow less empowering.
But that's how women feel. Right. Women actually are saying that because that's how they feel. It's
but that's not how every woman feels.
But no one's saying every woman. They're only women speak for themselves. So
right.
I think that's a bad argument. You should have just been like, oh, about that. Wait, let's rewind that back.
But that's how
a man is somehow less empowering.
You said no. Forcing women to have a man in their life is less empowering. If they choose to have a man in their life, that is their choice, and that could be empowering. But you shouldn't force women to have a man in their life if they don't want one. You know, just in case them being lesbians or something.
Or being an individual is somehow every woman feels.
But no one's saying every woman. They're only women speak for themselves. So all of you are going to have different opinions as biological men.
Absolutely.
Women all have different opinions. Oh, you see a very specific group of women saying this.
I mean, you did just say that's how women feel. So are you speaking on behalf of all women?
No, I'm not. Let me take that back. So, the women who are saying that feel that way.
Why do you feel that women in general feel disempowered?
I don't think in general. No. That's a generalized statement. You can't say that. I said
you're the
women.
One
no, I did not. I said the women.
You say because women have lower pay, they usually do not get promoted in work, and they get more like sexually harassed and sexually assaulted in general way more than guys. So you can bring up stuff like that.
Women who say that.
You associated somehow women are now embracing masculinity, which means that they are now more empowered because they don't need a man.
Right. Men feel empowered when women need
But
them.
I don't think that women's empowerment comes from having a man or not having a man. So why is it always associated that you know, a woman's now empowered because she doesn't need a man. A woman has always been empowered. Women have never been.
But they've never felt that.
That's not true.
I mean,
That's
if
not
we go
true.
back to the 1920s, if you're going to do that, but that's
Someone being gaslit here. I don't know who brought up that specific
But of
point.
course,
we're talking about society right now.
Right now, you actually think women are empowered right now?
Absolutely, women are empowered.
Who's the vice president?
And how long did it take for her to become a vice president, though?
There is a right and wrong way to be a man. Take a second to think about it.
Nope. Yeah, there's not a right way. Of course. Yep. All the people that walk up here hate men. I like to know that. The suicide statistics for men are way higher than women because toxic masculinity, more specifically, I want to put in, says that you can't be emotionally open to your friends. So that's why men live that's why women live way longer than men, because women open up more emotionally to other people. And not being emotional can drive men to being alone and lead them to more suicidal tendencies. So these guys up here, they hate men. I just want to say that.
When I originally heard the question being asked, I didn't agree with it. But men are not abusive individuals. Men are not to be cowards. Men are to lead their families. And men who do not display that, I don't believe that they are men, in my
I would like to say what is cowardly to him, because cowardly to him could be a trans man transitioning to a woman. That could be cowardly to him or something.
And all of the qualities that I see in my father is what I believe a man should be.
All of those characteristics are what make a man. And when I see a man be a coward in the truth, in just speaking the truth, or sticking up for what's right, especially today in America with everything going on, I'm like, those are not men. My name is Clarkson, I'm 24 years old, and I'm a conservative man. My biggest question for the other side really is, are you happy? Anybody that wants to fundamentally change society and change gender roles, to me, that's not happiness. And
how is that not
if we wanna
happiness?
Fight for acceptance, we need to start with acceptance, which is accepting society for what it is.
What? If you can never change society for what it is, how you change something to be right? If Nazis took over the earth, this motherfucker would be like, you shouldn't change society, you know, just let Nazis be Nazis, you know, let democracy die and all that shit. Okay.
At the end of the day, we're all men, and I don't believe there's any wrong way to be a man. We're just redefining what it means to be a man.
But there are things that naturally come to men. So when you say we're just redefining what being a man is, you have to understand you're redefining a fabric in society that has...
Because he said being cowardly is so if a guy born a cis guy does not transition, is a cis guy from... If that person is cowardly, they're no longer a man. If that is the case, then a woman being brave is automatically a man. If you just lead down their perspective that they had, the road of their perspective.
Has kept
See how flawed it is?
And got it to where it is today. So just like aimlessly throwing out, oh, well, we're just redefining what it is to be a man. That's not just like a light subject that we should be talking about.
But why do you think they have to stay the same?
I'm
why
sorry?
do we need to have the same thing for hundreds and hundreds of years?
Do you not see the state
It's not the same thing. It's just
said.
keeping the same qualities.
But do you see
That's the same
state
thing.
of
What?
our world today? It's not perfect. It's been led by men like throughout all of history, and look where it's gone.
You should bring up, because these guys always like to bitch and complain about the court systems, how they always prefer the women in like all the cases, especially when taking care of the kids. I would like to ask them, like, do you want it to stay that way? Because a lot of like conservative men would not bite that bullet, and they will say, oh yeah, we actually like to change that. So I'll be like, oh, so you actually do want to change stuff and not have stuff be the same.
So we're talking about redesigning what it means to be a man. So what do you want to bring to traditional men?
I think it's embracing that you can be vulnerable. I think that a lot of men want to portray strength, 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 but men are people, and I know that men have feelings.
Being a man and masculinity, those are two different things. And I believe that we can redefine whatever that means to anybody by including other types of men or other types of masculinity. I myself am a father, I have a child. Some people would disagree with me being a father because
This guy has not said anything. I just want to put it
I
out.
am transgender. But that being said, I present to the world as male, my child sees me as a man.
There's proper ways to be vulnerable, right? You don't have to break down in front of your family and cry. It's okay to suffer silently.
Why not? What? I feel like there's perfectly good explanations and circumstances where you can and is actually a good thing that you break down in front of your family and cry. What if you're at a family funeral? You know? I feel like that's a really good reason to break down and cry.
As well. Strong men, I believe, exude the qualities that you guys are referring to. I think the problem is overcorrection, right? Some people believe that men need to cry and lay on the ground and be feminine like women. My name is Brandon. I'm 34 years old, and I'm a conservative man. I had a lot of curiosities about what it's like to be a person who believes that they're a trans man. You know, I feel like God has created all of us very uniquely, and although I have beliefs and I follow the Bible to the T, I still want to know from other people of what their experiences are.
And get rid of
I have to
Bible.
agree, but I really want to know what other people are feeling from the person who's experiencing it real time.
I have male privilege.
100%. I will walk up there. Yeah. Like, I would definitely, if it was between me and a woman, well, I don't know if it was like specifically a white woman. If another person of color, a woman person of color, I will probably be hired more and be promoted more likely than another woman. Have stuff like that. I don't have to worry about being raped as much as women do on like a general standpoint. So stuff like that, that is male privilege right there. Like, you should ask them. You guys, every time you guys walk home, do you think that you're gonna get raped when you see a person walk up to you in the same road? I said a lot of women actually do believe that.
Both lives, and I can tell you firsthand that it does exist. I am taken much more seriously in my career since I've transitioned as a man. Prior to transitioning, I would work just as hard, if not harder, for the same position and not be considered. The minute that I transition, I am immediately taken more seriously. I can give you an example. Obviously with COVID, there's like the mask mandate, right? So I have to tell customers all the time, it needs to be above your nose, right? I do that all day. My manager who's above me, who is a woman, will have to go to them, tell them they give her a fight. But the minute I just look in their direction, it's up. It doesn't seem like a privilege, but it is, because now my manager has to work 3 times harder for something that's so simple.
I think the word privilege is the thing that turns a lot of people off with this conversation. But that being said, again, myself living my life as a female, pretty much half my life, and then now half my life as a man, there is no way I could not be honest about the fact that my life has changed drastically. Also being a white man, that's also a conversation a lot of people don't want to have. But I have privilege of being white and privilege also of being a man now. I can walk into any room and command that room in a heartbeat because people just do that with men. And I think the thing is that biological men are born into that space, so they'll never ever see it. Why do we now, as women who have become men, get to have this thing? It's 100% because we are men. We look like men. Nobody would ever know. No one would ever know that we used to be women. So it's actually a real lived experience.
Facts. Got a lot of good points. Let's see how these guys say. A lot of good points they put up.
So I agree with a lot of what you all are saying as far as like transitioning. But as a black man, privilege looks way different for me, because if I'm walking down the street, then I'm seen as a threat by police, by women, by anybody else.
Yeah, that's true. I was about to say that. Yeah, I definitely see like a black man will probably be confronted with racism a lot more than a black woman, like specifically when it comes to like aggressiveness and like police and shit like that.
Being seen as a man is where my privilege stops and where everything else begins. So I don't see it as privilege.
Okay, I got a lot to say about this topic here. And first of all, I mean,
he's gonna be wrong in every single point.
Each other. You know, I think that not everybody on this side presents 100% like a man. Like if I saw you in the streets, I wouldn't think you were a man. You know, men have it really hard in this world, and they've always had it hard
That's
in
a
this world. The war.
damn. I would say that's a damn lie. But these two, 100%.
Wars have been fought by men. They've died in the hundreds of thousands. Men commit suicide more. Men work more.
You bring that up, the suicide thing. You're the reason. People like you are the reason why men commit way more suicide. So you bringing up a point that goes against your narrative and goes against your thoughts and your thinking process.
Dangerous jobs. You know, if somebody broke in this place right now, who are they going to expect to defend everybody in here? It's going to be the men. If your
that's male privilege.
family fails, they're not looking at your wife.
Because you automatically see a woman as helpless. That's male privilege. He's bringing up points that go against his fucking argument. Oh my God, this guy's so fucking stupid. Holy shit.
They're not. They're looking at the man. You know, I just want people to understand it. There's some advantages that men have, and then also men do struggle in custody and all kinds of different things.
That's your fault. He keeps doing it. I don't understand. Why are conservatives so fucking dumb? They keep bringing up points that go against their fucking processes. Yeah, you're making my argument for me.
100%, I 100% agree with you as a man now, right? But I think my perception of it is different than yours because you were born male, you were raised male, you have a whole other space in that, and I totally respect your opinion on that, and I believe that that is a true lived experience as a born man.
Yeah, and let me add with the black man, because we have a total different reality in that. I don't, in no way, form, or fashion do I go into a room and I feel like I'm less than. I think I command presence when I go into a room because the way I'm dressed, and I'm tall. I go in the streets. I've never had a person cross the street. I've never been attacked by a police officer. I was a police officer. You know, I've been pulled over probably.
Wait, is this the officer fucking what's his name? It's like Brandon. I forgot his name. What is his real name? What is his name? Is it Officer Tatum? Hold up, where are we? 13? Where? Let me go back. What's his name? What is his name? We just got him to sit down. Is he that officer guy? Because if he is, he's the same guy that said that fucking what's his name? George Floyd deserved to die. He's the same motherfucker. He's the same bitch ass pig that said that shit.
Times in my entire life.
I mean, my biggest question with this and why I don't necessarily agree with it is because when it comes to privilege, there's not really a way to quantify it. It's very subjective.
They've always had it hard in this. I saw you in the street. On this side, first of all, I mean, we have
Brandon, officer. No, so he's not. He's not the same guy. Never mind. He is not the same guy. This is the guy. This guy is also trash, but never mind. He's not the same guy. But he probably. I don't know. I shouldn't say if he thinks the same way.
% agree with you as a man now. That, and I believe that
we have a total different reality and man presence when I go into a police officer. I was a police officer. You know, I've been pulled over probably 3 times in my entire life.
I mean, my biggest question with this and why I don't necessarily agree with it is because when it comes to privilege, there's not.
He has like this survivor mentality. It goes with a lot of sadly a lot of people. Well, mostly conservatives. It's like, oh, I didn't really experience racism like that much. That means it doesn't exist. No, dog. You were just lucky enough to not have experienced it that much. You're lucky to be born in a place, lucky to grow up in a place, or maybe he did experience racism a lot, and he is lying. A lot of people of color do that when they become conservatives, like Candace Owens. She fucking lies about racism all the time.
Not really a way to quantify it. It's very subjective. So like your version of male privilege and your version of male privilege are very different.
So it's hard to see the other side because you've never lived it.
Yeah.
The difference between you and us is we see it because we've lived it. You have not. So it's easy to speak and be like, well, it doesn't exist. Well, how would you know?
Well, I'm not.
Okay. I like that you bring up that point. I do like it. Okay. You're bringing up too much. You should go against their argument. Fucking Brandon, motherfucker. Brought up so many points that you can use against him and make a point for you. So you should do that instead.
Saying it doesn't exist. I think everybody has certain privileges, but what I think the question here is what defines male privilege over women? Because women have privileges too. Right. So is there a graph that you guys are calculating to make men have more than women, or what?
The privilege is not acknowledging what you have that comes so easy.
So do you think that your fear, because you live both sides,
right,
do you think your fear is something that you have in your mind, or you think it's a
No.
reality? Because
No.
let me say this: you never really changed as a person. You're the same person
Right,
that you were.
exactly.
So you have the same physical capabilities that you did
No.
when you were a woman.
No.
You don't.
No, my strength is entirely different after
Well,
You taking testosterone, probably.
what percentage would you say?
more than 100%.
Okay,
I weighed
so, but
like
you still
100
know,
pounds,
but you
now I weigh
still
like
you're still
133.
not probably as strong as me.
But it's not about strength.
What is this guy? What he's trying to make his argument? What is this? He's moving the goalpost so much. Oh my
It's
God.
that women are targeted. Men are not targeted. I mean, maybe sometimes. I'm not saying it's never going to happen.
They're targeted by other men. Most of the
Right.
homicides
But women
occur
are
in this
targeted
country are
by other
homicides of-
men. I think women have less of a safe space.
I
That's what I'm
disagree.
talking about.
Men don't have a safe space. If you go to certain
But I'm talking
cities,
about a
they
specific,
get murdered by
okay, but
other
I'm not
men
talking about certain cities.
more
I'm
so
talking
than
about
women.
everyday life.
Yeah, every day.
Not
I think
certain
that's a
cities.
blanket
Have
statement.
you been attacked as a woman?
I have.
I have been pressurized by
I've been
women,
raped.
yes.
I've been attacked. I can go on and on and on. I was homeless, living in the streets, raped all the time. It happens. It's a real thing. I didn't see
What is he gonna say? That is he gonna move the goalpost again?
guys on the street getting raped, but you
But
go.
men do get raped.
He's. Oh my God, he's moving the goalpost so fucking much. Oh my God, he was like, oh, have you ever experienced sexism? Yeah, I have. Well, do you know what percentage it is? Well, it's like more than 100%. Well, do you know? Have you been physically assaulted? Well, yes, I have. Well, men get physically assaulted. Like, okay.
100%.
But we're not
But the
making
experience of
Do you get catcalled down the street? Like,
I
does it
mean,
happen?
women say things to me when I was
But
a
do you
police
feel
officer.
threatened?
Do you
feel
feel
scared of
threatened?
them?
You feel empowered though, right?
No, I don't feel empowered. I feel that that's
But do you feel
disgusting.
scared? Do you feel threatened when a
He's
woman-
lying. There's no way. He is lying. There's no way I believe him.
But I
Cat
don't,
calls you?
No, I don't. But
Okay, then.
I don't feel threatened if a man
Right.
try to challenge
Because you have
me.
that male privilege.
Right, but as a
What
woman,
if,
it's different.
what if a man was whistling at you when you were walking down the street?
I've had it happen to me. I had gay men whistle to me,
Then
but
how does that make you feel?
I don't care.
Okay, cool.
I mean, as long as you don't
See, okay. So when gay is he coming out as gay? So gay men whistling at him, he doesn't care. When women like tell him that he looks good, he feels disgusted. Okay.
touch me and we cool.
Right.
I know you may think I'm attractive.
and
That's
I
fine.
think-
That's cool. I get
I
it.
think women will say the same thing as long as you're not like trying to be predatory. And I've seen it because I go to clubs with my friends who are girls, and I have to tell the men to literally leave them alone because they keep going. And they're predatory, and they're literally scouting out for women that are drunk or whatever, not even drunk. She could say no 1,000 times, and they're still gonna bother her. But the minute that I say something, they stop.
Women are not as strong as men and they get targeted. Sure, yes, that is a privilege that men have over women, but that doesn't mean that men have privilege because of that one situation. Men.
Wait, but it's way more than that. And yes, they do. And yet, I mean, yes, we do, because I'm a man too.
Suicide way more than women do.
Why do you think? Okay, hold up. They're about to bring up the point. Let's see.
Because if we're going to go that route, trans men commit suicide twice.
No.
No. No, you were almost there. You were almost there. This guy brought it to a different table. Now he's gonna weasel himself out of there. But this guy was bringing up a good point. He was looking at him like, damn, I was about to bring up a good point. Because he was about to say, why do you think men don't do these things? Why do you think men don't go out and seek therapy? Because they see it as weakness. Because toxic masculinity tells you that is weakness.
Twice the
Right,
rate.
but that's not
I think what's important here is to distinguish the fact that, yes, no one is negating the fact that women can get preyed on. You know, there's situations where this happens, right? Like, no one's going to deny that. But we're also just trying to say that it's not like a one-sided coin here, where there's no like men are just, you know, we just have it good and we can do whatever we want.
I do
We
not
can't
believe that's true.
we can't even be the next Supreme Court justice because you know, it's like.
But you know, again, I live as a man, so I see the difference. Now.
Yeah.
When I said I have privilege and I walk into a room, of course, but then there's other things that are expected of me now as a man that I would never knew were expected
So
of
would
me.
you guys agree that that there's such thing as female privilege?
Yes.
Sure, 100%.
I'll give an example. When you go out to dating sites, I think ContraPoints also putting this out. When she was a man, when she was in like Tinder and other stuff, she barely got any attention. As soon as she transitioned to a woman, she got so many notifications of people wanting to hook up with her, like, and talk in like dating sites like that. So that's one thing that I think women do have like privilege over. And I also think women have like more of an area to like express themselves like sexually and like and other stuff, because you know women can like kiss another woman or even have sex with another woman, and people won't look at her as being lesbian as long as she only did it once and she said he didn't like it. A dude kisses another dude once and say he didn't like it, that guy is automatically gay. But I think that can actually lead to more toxic masculinity, more than having women having privilege over that. So there's multiple. I can name more, but
My
let's
wife
keep
has
going.
privilege because she has me.
That's right.
So she don't have to worry about her
Right
safety
on.
because I'm there.
I don't believe that as a man, it's like, you know, there's marketing for women-owned brands. I can't be the next Supreme Court justice. Like, women are very much more empowered today, which I think is, I don't have no problem with it. I mean, like, good for you. But I think that the man I probably have privilege because I'm, 6 foot 210. Like, no one's picking on me when I walk down the street. You know, I used to live in Chicago, and I used to walk home all the time at night. But like, was that smart? Probably not. But I felt a little safe because, I'm not 5 foot 100 pounds. I'm Max. I'm 29, and I'm a conservative man. In today's society, women and men can be whatever they want and be as successful or as strong or as big of a leader as they choose. So I'm just wondering, in a society that is so seemingly more level than ever before, why are we transitioning?
It's still not level.
Genders to find, and what are we looking for?
It's nowhere near as level.
Biology determines gender.
Of course, all dumb fucks. Gender has barely anything. It does have few things to do with biology. However, sex, that has to do with biology. And when I mean sex, I mean like balls and dicks and stuff like that. That determines biology, sex and biology. Those two go together. Not 100%, but those two go way closer than gender. Gender pretty much has nothing to do with biology. So all dumb fucks. Oh, even him?
So,
he's also dumb.
Sex and gender, people try to argue that they're different.
They
but
are
sex
different.
And gender actually go hand to hand.
No, they
And
don't.
our biology, being a
No,
man,
they don't.
comes down to.
So, okay, I would like to ask this. If they go hand in hand, if I ask him right now, would you be a man if you wear a dress? Motherfucker would probably say no. So I'll be like, okay, well, 100 years passed in like fucking Kingdom of England and shit like that. Men used to wear a lot of dresses and high heels. Were those men? That's where their argument starts to fall apart there.
Every fiber within our body, so whether that be
So gender and sex are completely different. They're very different things. They're not completely different, but they're very different.
DNA, chromosomes, testosterone levels, bone density.
That's sex. You're naming
there's a whole bunch of
sex.
different factors
That's
that go
not
into it,
gender.
and it all has to do with biology.
So biology, I 100% believe in biology. Today we talk about biology being a social construct. I disagree with that.
No,
As
they
a
don't. Oh, this
transgender
guy's
person,
dumb.
I was born.
See, I'm disagreeing, even though he's trans. Disagree with him. He's just dumb. He's dumb about this. He was good before, but now he's dumb.
Biologically female. I always acknowledge that, and today I live as a male. Now that being said, sex and gender, they are trying to separate those things. Gender can be, I've chosen my gender. As you see, nobody would, I think, probably understand that I used to be a female. Now, many people do, like you just said, believe that sex and gender are one thing and you can never change those. I'm not trying to change anything. I'm trying to show the world that this is how I feel by presenting the outside. But I think denying biology is where we get into a lot of problems.
No one's denying
Seen
biology.
as a man, then like,
Right on.
who are you to? I don't care. I mean, you do you, whatever makes you happy. But I think like it becomes a slippery
butt.
slope. It's like, how are we
You do you, but I think you're ruining society. Okay, dog. Okay.
going to deny basic human facts? Like, there's two
I
genders.
think that causes problems, and it causes problems for me.
Yeah.
Because the minute I start denying your biology, now you feel attacked by me. Right. And I don't want you to feel attacked by me. I never want you to feel, I want to be a part of, if that makes sense. You don't have to agree with my choice of how I live my life, but all I ask for is respect.
What do you have on your driver license and your birth certificate?
Right,
Did you
great,
change it to
great.
male or did you change it to?
So that being said, I transitioned to live as a man 29 years ago. So that was way before you see any of this stuff. And I had to acknowledge my biology, right? That being said, my license, I travel the world. It has to say male. Can you imagine if I showed up at the airport, they're like, female? Dude, there's something going on here. But I actually got my my birth certificate changed to male. I was the first person to do that here in Los Angeles. But that being said, I kind of think that it might have been a mistake to do that now, looking forward today.
No, it's not.
Because
It's not a
I
mistake.
never thought we would be having this conversation.
I'm glad you said that because I love that people.
You're calling it snowflake. Stop. Oh, are you still here or you just leave? Did you just try to say something and you just leave? I mean, I would love to debate you if you're like too scared to debate. I'll ban you right now, but if you want to debate, I mean, if you don't come on to debate about this, I will. How can I debate? I would send you a Discord link, dog. I'll send you a Discord link. You want to debate? We can debate about this. I know. I'm ready right now. This. You came in here and be like, oh, you're a snowflake. All right. This about gender. I assume you don't agree with me. I said those are fake men. Well, they're not fake men. See, there you go. We disagree on that. Wait, who's fake men? The conservatives or the trans people? Trans, of course, haha. Well, they're more men than you. I know that's damn sure. I'm gonna ban you if you're too scared to debate. No, I'm not trans. I'm a cis man. But if you want to debate about this, I can. If you're too scared, because they're brave enough to come over here and have their opinion tested. Are you? You sound hella feminine. Also, what a cis. All right. Your next thing, yes or no? Or are you too scared? Because I'm not scared. Are you too scared? Your next thing better be yes or no. If it's not a yes or no, I'm going to ban you right now because you're too pussy. I don't want any. I want all my chatters and people who look and watch my stream to be brave, strong people. I don't want them to be pussies like you. Don't pussy out on me, dog. We can talk right now. Don't puss me out on me here. It doesn't seem fruitful. Again, yes or no. One more chance. Yes or no. Do not pussy out. You're just gonna deny the truth. All right. You're pussying out. All right. Pussy. Bye, pussy. All right. What a fucking pussy, dog. I was just trying to debate him, and he was trying to make every excuse in the book to not debate. He was trying to get me to egg me on. Nope. See, that's what conservatives are. Conservatives are afraid to debate. They're scared. Scared little bitches. That's what they are. So, let's keep going with this.
People can express themselves. We live in America. It doesn't matter what I believe, what my religion is. I love that people can live their best life. I'll never, ever in my life protest or try to go against a person who wants to identify. The problem is when you begin to try to change language and you begin to try to change reality, and then therefore it changes on the children, and all of that becomes problematic. If a person says, okay, I acknowledge I'm born as a man or a woman, but I want to identify as this, cool, I respect.
That's what people are doing. What are you talking about? That's what trans people are doing. Trans people are saying, I was born a woman, but now I want to be identified as a man. That's what they're doing. What are you talking about?
And even if I didn't want to see it that way, and some people may be a little more ambiguous, I wouldn't never disrespect you. I'll call you by your name.
That's right.
Whatever name that you want to be associated with, I'll do that. And I think if everybody in the country can get on that same page.
People are going on the same page. What are you talking
I
about?
noticed in a lot of the trans individuals that I've met, the older generation who had it a lot harder in society to be accepted is a lot more willing to have the conversation.
We didn't have social media. I didn't have cell phones. I didn't have computers when I transitioned.
Well, as you can see by my chat, this conservative guy in my chat, the pussy guy, he did not want to have the conversation. I would love to have the conversation. He didn't want to. So I can actually point that out at conservatives. Conservatives do not want to have the debate.
And this is how you build bridges. I'm Buck. I'm 59 years old, and I'm a trans man. Because I'm an elder trans man now, and there's a much newer generation, there's a definite space where I have a different way of being than the younger generation, and why I tend to call myself a transsexual man. And I believe in biology, I believe in binary, so it really does not necessarily align with the new thought process that is happening with the newer generation.
So I love this question. With trans folks, biology does change. our bone density does change, our muscle structure does change, our testosterone levels do change. So biologically, we do change. Anatomically, now that's where surgeries come into play. So when we're talking about biology and gender that can't be changed, our biology absolutely and concretely changes.
Not the DNA.
See, he's gonna change the thing in the future when we're gonna have fucking advanced technology and a trans person can 100% a woman can 100% DNA, biology, bone, whatever the fuck into a man. They're gonna change their argument. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, but you know, God didn't tell you this way," or well, hopefully we got rid of religion at that point. Or they're gonna say, "Oh, you just weren't born in it, so all that matters is you being born." So them talking about like biology, like it's not gonna matter. It doesn't matter. They just don't like trans people, and that's it. In the bottom line, they're post hoc justifying why they do not like trans people.
But our
DNA does not change.
Yeah, DNA is not going to change for anyone.
So you acknowledge there's a biological difference between males and females, because some people on the other side would say there's no difference. Like a female, like I could look like a girl, not having testosterone, but I'm still a male.
Some people are male, some people are female, chromosomally. But when we start to take testosterone, our bodies do biologically change.
But what about trans men who don't take testosterone?
Then their bodies don't biologically change.
That means then they're biologically still female, right?
Well, and gender in itself is something we get to choose. Okay,
That's right.
Just like you said.
Well,
right?
in your life, you get to choose. Not
That's
you don't
right.
get to choose it for the world, but you get to choose.
I get to
That's
choose
right.
my gender because I've been on testosterone for 10 years. Okay, going on 11 years.
But there's some anatomy that will never change.
That's right.
Right? I mean, you'll still have ovaries. You still have
Yes.
the female reproductive system. You
Yes.
said that.
Well, and oh, it's so bad. Okay, it's because they're playing into the conservatives' narrative. You should have just stuck to gender and sex being two different things, because that is just factually gender and sex are two very different things. You should have stuck at that level.
You had a child.
Yes, I've given birth. I no longer have female reproductive organs.
Right, but you had that. You will never get male productive organs.
Now, when you think about it, the male and female productive organs are similar, and they're nearly the same. They're different. Right. They're different in size.
Even if
biologically,
and they're different in
in
functionality too.
Not necessarily, because the testes and the ovaries are very much similar. One is an egg, one is a fertilizer,
But
and
we
that's
can
the
never,
difference.
but I never can produce sperm.
You're absolutely
ever,
right.
Ever.
You're absolutely right.
And they can never produce ova.
And you guys are saying that gender is like a social construct. Is that what you're saying too?
Because okay, so they talk about how, like biology wise, like you giving birth to a person. Well, what if it's a woman, born a cis woman, but they just something like biology to them, they can't reproduce. There's women out there like that. Are they less of women? Are they not women? Are men are out there that cannot produce sperm? Born a man, cis man, are they no longer men anymore? You can go down that route as well.
You could change it, but also if you want to be technical about it, age is a social construct. Your ethnicity and race is a social construct, and I'm Hispanic. I can't.
Absolutely, we should definitely get rid. Is this guy Cuban? We definitely should get rid of race as being a social construct. Race is definitely a social construct. Age, I think, is more up to debate because you can see someone getting, you can see someone getting old, and I think it can come to that being a social construct once you can start like fucking going back in time, living forever. I think that's when it starts to become a social construct.
Say I'm Chinese because I like Chinese food. I could bleach my skin all I want. I could wear Chinese clothes.
Race.
But you can also say no one out there is killing themselves because they were born white, but they want to be fucking Asian. No weeb has ever done that. So, but a lot of trans people have. So you can make that argument right there.
This is not how is ethnicity going to be a construct?
There's all social constructs.
So
We all agree on it.
how exactly?
If you look up, is race a social construct? Ethnicity
Yes, it is.
a social construct?
Yes.
Is time a social construct? Everything's
Yes.
a social construct if you want to think about it that way. But we have
100%.
set truths, and we can't change those truths. If you want to say you're trans man, that means you're a biological female that thinks that
No,
you're a male.
I am a biological male. I'm an anatomically.
See, he's gonna have a different version of it than,
right.
and I think it's really important that you understand
and
we're all gonna have
it's
different views.
anatomic, okay?
Yeah.
Because biologically, I have shifted, okay? Trans meaning going from one to the next.
Biologically and all these things, I know that there's importance for you guys, but meeting me or seeing me, you would never know. So why is it important?
Well, no,
Like,
because
you know, like,
just
'cause I'm just
say if I
curious.
was a woman, just say if I was a woman and I wanted to date you, what are you gonna tell me?
I would tell you that I'm trans. What do you
No,
mean?
no, I'm saying you can't tell me that you're a man.
I mean, I'm still a man.
Yeah,
No,
you can
but
tell he's a
gotta
man.
Tell me, you got to tell me that you were born a woman. You have
I
to.
mean, I don't have to.
Well, because
No, you can just say I don't have a penis and that's it. You don't have to tell him that you were born a man.
if I go down, if I see
Right.
you in your pants,
Right.
I'm gonna see something different, and that will be troubling to me
Right,
if
but
I had an
But
expectation.
again, this is like leading off the topic, but I mean, to answer your question, if you must know, I do tell the person that I'm talking to or interested that I'm transgender. I don't think that you need it to, you don't need a penis to be a man. And I know that you may disagree, which is fine, like I get it, but I don't want one.
Now, I have a question for all of you. Do your penises make you men?
Yes,
Well, it's
biologically.
part of our-
Like,
it's
no,
part of what
that
makes
is,
me a man,
is that
yes.
what makes
Well, I
you a man?
said being a man's ingrained within every part of your body. So our cells are,
Right,
yes, our
but,
penis too.
but if
someone
you
goes
had
to war,
to, if you had to look at the difference between us and between
I think that's a good question. Take everything away from you that you think makes you a man and only have a penis. Are you a man at that point? Because there's people out there that actually are born with a penis and also a vagina. There's people out there that exist that have that. Are they men? Are they women? What are they? So I think that's a really good question, and you have to nail at them. Don't let them weasel out. Conservatives love. They're so slimy. They love to weasel out.
you. Now, would that difference be the lack of a penis?
If we were naked,
Okay.
I mean,
So if
See,
we're gonna,
nope. It's a yes or no question. Yes or no question. No. You can be like, okay, you're rambling. I'm gonna ask you the same question. It's a yes or no question.
we're gonna minimize being a man to that particular anatomy.
We didn't minimize.
No.
it.
No, they are.
asking you
They
a question.
absolutely are.
If we minimize it, because this is where we're going, is anatomy, right? Because that's where we've gotten.
our basic
Yeah.
Okay.
biology, yeah.
So if we get there, so do your penises make you more men than us?
And that's
it's
it.
not making more or less. It's we're
See, they're Weasley. They're weasels. It's a yes or no question. You gotta, God, they're such pussies. Conservatives are so fucking cowardly. Oh my God.
we're a biologically man. You're not a biological man.
It's not a spectrum,
It's
so it's
from-
not a question that we can answer because you're saying on the spectrum, would this make us more of a man than you? But no, it's because we are a man and you guys.
Cowards.
Well, we're different.
So we're not
Yes.
men,
We're different.
is what you
No.
exactly what
You gotta point.
In
No,
my-
you gotta ask the same question until they say yes or no.
You guys are appropriating the gender and you are living as a man, but biologically you are not a man. So to me, it's not you
Because
can't
they
say-
know they're wrong. They know they're wrong, so they're just making excuses. They're making excuses.
say, okay, well, does that make us more of a man? That's not even a question to ask because you're not a biological man. When it comes down to asking questions that make me start to change what the truth is and what the truth isn't, putting it on a spectrum when it's an objective truth, that's where I draw the line.
What's the biggest problem with what he said? It doesn't make you. It doesn't make what you feel any different. The biological truth is the truth, and why can't that be the truth? And you also say, but I feel like on the inside that I'm a man and I'm going to present that way.
The argument
They're
is
wrong, especially even when it comes to biology. They're also wrong.
that people try to invalidate.
Because you can bring out the I don't know if it's right to say hermaphrodite people, but that's what I think they're called. If I'm wrong, that's a bad word to say. Just correct me in the comments down below or in the chat, but you can bring them up. Are they men? Are they women? They have penises, but they also have vaginas and stuff and ovaries and stuff.
Who we are with that. I'm not saying that you guys are doing that, but a lot of society in the world does that. Well,
They are
biologically
doing
female.
They are
What
doing
hurts
that.
Trans people that people don't realize what they're doing is it's very harmful. You got to be aware of what you're.
They are
saying
doing
and
that.
putting
You
out
gotta
there. You know what I
stop
mean?
being so
Yeah,
nice.
100%. And that's why I think we all agree. We would never try to offend you or anything like that. To be honest, if I saw any one of you in the streets, I don't care. It's not going to bother me that you want to. I
Right.
would know unless I pulled your pants down or something. Why?
Then why do
feel
you
like have
focus on so much on it?
to present the way you do? Facial hair. Could you
Right.
be a man without having facial hair?
I mean, yeah.
Because you feel like you're a man.
I'm in the early stages of testosterone. I haven't hit 1 year yet. But personally for me, I crave, having a full-on beard like these fine gentlemen and you guys all like I crave it, But I do believe not having this little small peach fuzz I have going on, it does make me feel more dysphoric. It makes me feel like, oh, this is how I presented before transitioning.
Do you feel like it's something that has gone wrong at birth? You're born and you say, well, genetics and evolution says this. Why do I feel like this,
yeah,
yet
I mean,
I
think questioning it was something that I always wondered, because sometimes when people say it was a choice, which I hear a lot on the other side all the time, it was a choice. I was legit born this way. I could remember from, I think, 4 or 5 years old where you know what I mean? And I can't tell you why that happened. It was just my path in this life. And it's something that I honored, and it was really hard for me to continue living, especially when puberty hit. Time of month comes in, obviously anatomy changes, and that was the biggest thing for me, where I knew that okay, I can't do this. It's like you're not in your own home.
Children should be allowed to transition.
I would say yes, because when it comes to children should be allowed to transition, they're not getting surgery. No child has ever gotten a bottom surgery, ever. That is a myth and a narrative created by conservatives who are just transphobic. What children do is that they feel like they're not a part of the gender that are assigned at birth, so they talk to their parents, and they talk to a doctor, and a doctor sits them down and talks to them for a long ass time to get them to be certain, super certain that they want to transition. So when that hits, the doctor prescribes them with hormone therapy, a hormone treatment, and that's where they go from there. Just get hormones so they won't go into puberty, and that's how it goes. So 2 things for that. One thing, hormone therapy, easily reversible. So when a child does not want to be the gender that they wanted to be in the past, they can easily transition to the gender they are assigned at birth easily with hormone therapy. And second, the second one. A lot of trans people knew that they're trans when they are very young and when they're children. So that's the second point I was going to say.
I find it very interesting that you and I are the only ones that stepped up, especially since we're younger. And
you should allow children to feel what they feel, because I felt the way that I felt for as long as I can remember, and it's something that I cannot deny.
Yeah.
There you go.
Although my mother
Affirm.
is supportive, when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to wear boys' clothes because that wasn't right. Now I know we're talking about transitioning. It doesn't always have to be hormones. It's like transitioning in society, so being able to dress more masculine. I did when I was younger, but as I got into middle school, kids change, people are mean, so I dressed how I would in society, so I dressed like a girl, whatever, but I think that children should be allowed to express themselves in whatever way makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah. Kids are struggling to be who they are, and there's more rates of suicide for trans individuals because there's literally being laws put in place to prevent them from being who they are, and that's not right. That's not right.
Okay, so I work with children. This is where I have the biggest problem with the trans stuff, is with the children, because people, I'm sure you guys would agree, you want to inject them with the hormones to stop their puberty, their normal puberty. They haven't even developed the prefrontal cortex yet, and you want to...
Yes. Does not harm the child. It's prescribed by doctors. From what I know, none of these motherfuckers are doctors, so they probably don't have any idea what they're talking about. And it's easily reversible. It does not harm the child anyway, and it's easily reversible.
Stop their natural puberty from occurring to affirm their gender, and then later on they regret it. I think that's not a good thing.
See, that's why this is a loaded question, because transition can mean many things for children. Now, I totally, as a transsexual person, disagree with giving children hormone blockers, medication, surgery, but what I do agree with is transitioning, which means why, because I did that, okay, and I did that in the 60s and 70s. My parents dressed me like Buck, I was a boy, you know, I didn't have any problems because I just lived, we used to call it a tomboy, right? So that was totally, and I went through puberty and I did all the things. I do not believe children can make those choices, and I do not believe it's okay and ethical for a parent.
They're not the only. There you go. All right, doctors. Okay. This guy, he's talking.
Parent to make those choices for a child. But I do believe gender dysphoria exists in children. I had it, 100% it's there. But to give medication to a child is so unethical to me that you would actually, you're exactly what you said, you're stunting brain growth, you're stunting all of these things.
You're not.
Enough research
You are
I'm
not, and there's
agreeing with
plenty of
transitioning
fucking
medical-
researching. You motherfuckers just lying.
For children is not okay for me, but I do believe in a social space.
When you say a social transition, it's interesting to me because we can't control what happens in a social situation.
That's right. That's right.
So to me, and we talk about suicide rates among young trans people, this whole ideology is telling people to derive their value off of what somebody else is saying about them
That's
or what
right.
somebody else affirms to them. So we say that, you know,
Dog, shut the fuck up. As a gay person, you should definitely know how they feel. Because they've been doing that with gay people, and they made the same fucking argument with gay people. The only difference is that gay people are way more accepted now than trans people.
society is the problem, and we're not allowing people to be who they are, and that's why they're committing suicide. But maybe it has to do with the messaging that we're sending to these kids, that you derive your value from if somebody uses your correct pronoun, or you derive your value if this person accepts you for wearing a dress. Be who you are, but tell them to be empowered about it and not get that empowerment from somebody else.
I feel like that's really kind of inconsiderate to say that someone would take their life because what someone else says. To somebody, that is important. To somebody, I know have friends who their family does not use their correct pronouns and they've transitioned and they live in the same household. This person struggles with depression and anxiety. Could you imagine living in an environment like that where you're no longer validated? That's coming from your own parents.
But if you base your validation off of other people, this is a hard truth, but if your sole validation
No, you definitely
as
have
an
to do it.
individual
Listen,
is based off
I
of
could
other
give
people,
a shit when everyone thinks about me. I do what I want. But for everyone, that's not the case because everybody has different personalities.
right, but that
He's just narcissistic. This is fucking narcissism right here.
doesn't make it any, that doesn't mean that
But it's
we
still,
should
but
be
what you're not
telling people to get
acknowledging, what you're
validation
not
from
acknowledging though
others.
is that in that environment, it is not supported.
I'm acknowledging.
Because there's not a single person on planet Earth that does not, like, if everybody on planet Earth hates you and does not give a fuck about you, everybody would just end up committing suicide. Everybody. That's everybody in planet. There's nobody else. Because we are social creatures. We're not like fucking loners and shit. We are social creatures.
I'm just saying that we're saying that for some reason they should look for that validation from somebody
When
else
you
rather
love
than find it
somebody and
within.
you have a family, you want them to
But you're
validate you.
focusing not on the individual, you're focusing on the people outside of that
Yeah, but
individual.
the individual,
I'm focusing on empowering that individual.
But part of being
You're-
a person is needing to be validated. You don't need to be validated ever in your life from your
No.
family or your friends.
I get my
Never.
Lying.
validation from within. And
Lying.
Right, but if we're talking
Lying.
about-
That is, he's 100% true. This motherfucker is fucking lying his ass off.
Children, okay, if we're talking,
child.
okay, I was an 8-year-old when I found out that I wasn't biologically male, right? I was 8 when I found out that I wasn't the same as my brothers, okay? And so going through that process, I attempted suicide 4 times because my mother was like, well, you are a girl. When you're 8 and you're 12 and you don't have anyone else that is in your space, when you don't have anyone else that lives in the same house as you to tell you you're okay, where are you supposed to go? How are you supposed to garner your own self-validation if the people that are raising you don't validate who you are?
I just thought about this. That guy who's like, oh, why do you commit you to empower yourself? He's the one that brought up that a lot of men are committing suicide. Why do you think a lot of men are committing suicide? All the fucking propaganda, not propaganda, and like all the shit that gets blasted to men are empower yourself, empower yourself, empower yourself. That's not working. It's not working right. That's why a lot of men commit suicide, because they need a validation from other people.
As a father, you know, my duty is to raise my children the way I believe is right. And if my child somehow struggles with this, which is fine, we'll have that conversation. But I'm going to let it play out the way I believe it should be played out. And at 18 years old,
You're doing the same thing as what his parents
did. If you don't want to
did.
wear dresses, that's fine. I mean, just wearing if you want to dress like a boy, don't make you want to be a boy. Don't mean you have to be a boy. My mom was a tomboy, and my mom had me and my brother, and she's a woman, you know, and she lives like that. But you know, you may want to dress a little different. Maybe a boy want to do cheerleading or something like that.
Right.
But that don't mean you need to transition to something else. So I want that to play out until my child is old enough to make that decision on their own. Also, you have to teach your children to have balance, because if you just want mommy and daddy to acquiesce to everything you want, that's not reality. You have to understand that mom and dad may not see me this way. They love me. I see myself this way, and I disagree with how they speak to me or how but I love them as well. I love, like my son, if he said that he was, and I'm a Christian and I don't believe in homosexuality, I don't. I respect anybody that feel that way. I'd never, protest you at all. If my son came to me, it would be a struggle for me to want to go to his wedding. I'm just going to be honest.
So you're a hateful human being. Oh my God, this guy's such a piece of shit. Oh my God, he's like, I don't have a problem with that, but if my son is gay, I would beat the shit out of him.
Understand, this is the way my dad feel. I love him. This is the way I feel, and we have mutual love. And that don't mean I hate you. That just mean we disagree. And I wish that same sentiment would be, and I think it's the same on this panel. Like, there's no hate in any of this. Right. I love every single person on this side, and we may think of things differently, but we love each other. It can't be one-sided.
I am lucky, I'm 41, and I'm a trans man. One of my greatest fears as a trans man is my life being taken from me because I'm a trans man. Transitioning in a black neighborhood with gang members as neighbors, they weren't having that. So the more that my body started to look a lot like theirs, I was challenged on a regular basis. I was beaten up because someone recognized me from prior to my transition and approached me and confronted me and called me a liar and told me I was a bitch. And I, out of safety, was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they cold cocked me, and I lost the front tooth.
I grew up with a positive father figure.
This is good.
I think for me it's surprising, because I would believe that a woman who,
I would just like to say, if his son or his daughter was A, trans, or B, gay, he would not be a positive father figure. He would actually be the opposite, a negative father figure. So him being like surprised, I mean, you would be the negative guy.
a person who's born as a woman who now identifies as a man didn't have a positive role model as a man, and therefore they felt somewhat insecure as a woman, which makes them, feel a certain way and want to be a certain different person. Maybe they want to be the man that their father never was, or whatever the case may be. And so it was very interesting. I mean, being honest, it was interesting to see pretty much a majority of you guys come forward.
That's so great. I think that's really important that you say that, because I do think a lot of people probably feel that way about guys like me, right? That our fathers we didn't have the right upbringing or what. My father was amazing. I grew up really like a little boy. I always felt like a little boy. My parents actually raised me, and I'm 59 years old, so that was in the 60s and the 70s when we didn't even talk about this kind of stuff. But my parents actually felt it from me. So I think that that's a misconception that people think about people like us.
Any good father pushes their child to feel self-love and to feel like they can be who they want, do what they want, and have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Like our founding fathers. And so it's fatherlessness, or having a missing dad is a pandemic in its own, and it's one that obviously I'm sure Brandon can attest to. It's so critical to have a father in the house, because kids get lost when they don't have one, and having
That's not true. He's lying. It's good to have a two-parent household in the family. It doesn't matter if it's two women, two dudes, man and a woman. Doesn't matter. You just need to have two-parent households. It pretty much helps with everything. One of the parents are out fucking working, the other parent can just raise the child. and when they're both going out working, they have like double income, more money for the child. So it just helps overall. Two parent, not a father figure. Two parents.
A father that's loving and strong and someone you can rely on is, the reason why, we're all comfortable with who we are.
I had several different father figures like in my life. So it wasn't, I had a dad, but then I had my grandfather and I had my uncle. It takes a village to raise a child, right? But all of those different perspectives raised me as a well-rounded human. Like, if we take the masculinity out of it, just as a human, I got to see different perspectives. And so now as a father that has given birth to a child, and that child being a male, right, I'm able to raise him with those same ideals that I'm able to identify because of the father figures that I had.
I didn't have my father growing up. He was not present in my life at all. So it showed me that some men can step up, like my grandfather and my stepfather, who have taken me in and showed me how to take care of myself, how to be, strong and dependable. And all I've been able to do is give more love to all people that I interact with.
Right.
So it was really important for me to have those figures.
I think this is a really important thing to show people that are watching this, because a lot of times I feel like we can blame any issues in society or anything that arises on the generation that came before us. So any issues that arise in our society, it's like there's not always a reason.
I mean, you guys are doing the thing where how old people always blame the problems of society with the generation that came after them. That's what they're doing right now. That's what they did.
Why it's happening, we just need to address the issue and solve it.
I grew up with all women. My parents were divorced, and I lived with my mom. I had my aunts, so I was raised by women, but my dad was there sometimes, and then my stepdad took me in as his own, so I had my stepdad as a father figure.
I grew up with all women as well. My mom used to tell me I have to be your mom and your dad. So like there would be times where I got both. Like she was super sweet with me or really strict on me, and like she taught me a lot as well. Like growing up with women, it taught me a lot of vulnerability.
No, when you were talking to, I was like, I relate to you very well. But yeah.
I'm Jacob. I'm 27 years old, and I'm a trans man. So the relation with my dad and how
Isn't like those two, him and the other Hispanic guy, it is like that show that you don't really need a father figure. It just goes to my point because they had multiple women and that helped them a lot.
supportive he is has been a challenge for me, but it's something that I've learned to grow past. And I encourage everyone that even if you don't have a parent who is supportive, to still be authentically yourself, because your life is meant to be lived for you. And I think that choosing my happiness above all else has made my life that much better, and I wouldn't change anything. Even though he wasn't supportive, I still wouldn't have him here.
Listening to all your guys' points, I would definitely say, yeah, I did have a father figure. He was in the Marines, and he has this very toxic masculinity mindset. A lot of anger built up that I can definitely tell he suppressed, in the Marines, because that's what he was taught to do. That's what the Marines are about. He always carried that with him, and I think that's what he tried to instill in me and my siblings at a very young age, which made it hard for me to be vulnerable with myself. And I just saw a lot of anger issues that were, very violent sometimes. And since coming out as trans, I feel like he's been more willing to understand me more and trying to figure out who I am as a person. And because of that, I feel like our relationship has definitely got a lot stronger since then.
I can't imagine how difficult it is to come home and then try to be vulnerable after suppressing so much pain and hurt for years. So it's good to hear that he's learning and kind of evolving and opening up. That's something where you guys were talking about vulnerability, right? And it's like there's times when it's good to be hard.
I don't show emotion as much as I've
Y'all are the ones that disagree with them about being emotional. Just like you can't break down in front of your family. It's like, okay.
like.
I definitely have sensed and noticed since transitioning that being on testosterone has made me cry less, which is very interesting because I believe that before I transitioned and started taking testosterone, I feel like not being able to cry as much, it makes me like, I'm like, damn, I wish I could cry right now, but it's not gonna happen. Hi, I'm Gibby and I'm a trans.
Is that because of testosterone, or is that because the way people treat men differently? So you're getting like the shit that men get, how men are not supposed to cry in a lot of situations. So is that it? Is that the reason why, or is maybe it's the reason why because of testosterone? I don't know.
Trans man. Before transitioning, I guess
I just feel you shouldn't be 100% certain in that, because that's something you need to talk to your doctor or somebody else.
only presented as lesbian, but since transitioning, I've been able to be more comfortable with my sexuality. I've definitely seen on like dating apps and stuff, a lot of conservative men fetishizing trans individuals, and it's interesting because a lot of the time they say that they don't identify as gay or within the community, and yet they're fetishizing my community.
So I don't know about you guys, but I always speak my mind. If I feel a certain way, I'll tell somebody, and that probably cost me a lot of relationships, but that's just how I am. So
I don't think there's anything wrong with, I know we talked about vulnerability, a long time ago. I don't think there's anything wrong with being vulnerable. I think, like we said, there's times and places for it. Knowing when it's okay to be vulnerable and being self-aware of that, and then, being strong when you need to, and being sad, when it's appropriate. But I certainly am not as vulnerable or not as emotional as probably I should, because it's not something that I always did growing up. But I don't feel like I have any real issues like suppressing. I just feel like I kind of get it out in other ways.
Yeah, that's great. You look at it.
Get it out in other ways. What does that mean? Oh no, what does that mean? Does he beat his wife or something? But I disagree with something what he said before. Let me see. Let me return.
When it's appropriate.
I mean, no, I was saying he always says that, like, I mean, can you give me examples when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate, or you're gonna be like super vague again?
I just feel like I kind of get it out in other ways.
Yeah, that's great. You look at it like that, because I believe for me, like my personal experiences, like because I was one, to transition at a very young age, and my dad.
And also another thing that I don't like what he said is like he's super basic. It's like all he's saying is I agree with what he's saying, but it's like super basic, because it's like always be good. Never do bad things. If you ever say to someone, it's like, what does that even mean? What does that means different things to different people.
Being in the military, being a veteran, he would see me being vulnerable at times, and he'd be like, well, don't you want to be a man? And that would make me feel like, oh, am I not supposed to be vulnerable anymore? Now that I'm gonna transition, and it was just like very hard for me, because like I said earlier, it was hard for me to have that father figure at that time of my life.
My process of, digesting emotions is by myself, and I use that time to self-reflect. So if I'm feeling angry, or if I'm, feeling really passionate about something, or whatever the emotion is, sometimes I pull back and I don't show that emotion because I'm reflecting on it and trying to understand why it's there. So I think a lot of times people can think men aren't showing enough emotion, but in reality, they're just self-assessing why that emotion is there in order to see what it's trying to teach us.
Why not let out the emotion, cry, let out the emotion, and then you can assess what's making you cry. Like post-nut clarity, you can be a different version of that.
Right. I think for when I was female, I was much more angry. I was just reactive, angry, like, grr. And then as I became a man, I cry more now as a man than I ever did as a woman. And I think it's because I'm at peace with myself. And so before I was just so angry about being a woman and everyone calling me she and seeing a girl, and I'd just be, as a fashion model. So that really just took it to a whole other level. And then once I became a man, it was like, whoa, I can actually relax. And I think I do the same thing. I self-reflect on myself. I want to be this type of man that is more vulnerable and that is more accessing my own emotions.
Thank you, everyone.
Right on. Thank you.
That was cool. That was cool.
Thank you.
I feel like I shouldn't blame them on that, but I feel like they should have definitely pushed back a decent amount more than what they did, because a lot of the conservatives there are pretty much just saying, "Oh, you're not a man, you're a woman," and like pretty much denying like reality and denying what they are. So I think they could have pushed back a lot more. I think some of them did a decent amount. However, I was disappointed in some of what they thought, mostly on like the older trans people, because they're definitely wrong in certain situations. You can definitely see that they probably have not read up to the new shit going on. And just conservatives, again, low standards for conservatives. Didn't break any bars. The only thing that low about them is that they just they made my view on conservatives go down even more. You know, they're garbage pieces of shit. You know, lying all the time. Even the first 10 minutes, the Hispanic motherfucker, he's lying. He was straight up lying. I looked that up on stream, and he was straight up lying. So yeah, it was alright episode. I kind of wish I was in one of these. I kind of do wish I was one of these, but as well as like, it is difficult because I am in a computer. Like when that guy said like a lot of testosterone was going down, I probably would have challenged that, not knowing that he was half right. Yeah, that's the new video. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below. I would very, very much appreciate it, and see ya.